All right, now what we're going to do is apply the halftone texture effect to this layer, but we're going to do it in another image. I want you to come over to the Layers palette and right-click on the black and white layer, and I want you to select Duplicate Layer right here. Then when the Duplicate Layer dialog comes up, down here where it says Document, I want you to select New. And then go ahead and click OK, and you should see a new document appear on the screen with a duplicate of that layer. All right, now what we're going to do is apply the threshold image adjustment to this image to get it down to 2 colors. So first, let's come up here to Image, Adjustments, and select Threshold. And what I'll do is just go ahead and zoom into the image so I can see this just a little bit closer here. And what you want to do is move this little white slider here at the bottom of the threshold and focus on the details of the face. So if you look here, the eyes and the ridge of the nose and the lips, you really want to focus on those areas. You don't want to go down too far like this and just get the eyes. You want to make sure that you get all the nice facial details, something like this. Now that looks pretty good. I'll press the space bar on the keyboard to get the hand tool, and I can just browse around here and check this out. I'll also focus on her hair at the top here, because we did brighten that up. And if I back that off a little bit, I could probably get more white in the hair. Just keep in mind that where we see white is where color will be. And so I'll lower this down. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK, and we can zoom out here. Perfect. Now, if you zoom into the image real close, you can see after we've applied that threshold, we have the edges of the image here are a little bit pixelated, or at least along the details of the areas here between the white and the black. So what we can do is soften those areas. This is something that we're probably going to have to do in order for the halftone dot effect to look right. So let's come over here to Filter, Blur, and select the Gaussian Blur option, and enter somewhere around 1.5, 1.8. That'll be just fine, just to give it a little bit of softening there, and go ahead and click OK. And I'll zoom out. Okay, this is looking perfect. All right, now we're ready to apply the halftone texture to this image, but we must convert a couple modes here in Photoshop. Before we do that, let's come over here to Image, Mode, and I want you to select Grayscale, which will discard all the color information. Go ahead and click on Discard, and then come back up here to Image, Mode, and select Bitmap. Flatten all layers, click OK, and the bitmap options will appear right here. Now for the output, I want you to set this to 300 dpi if you're working with the same image that we are in this tutorial. Now if you have a lower resolution image, maybe something around 72 dpi or 150 dpi, go ahead and change that output resolution right here depending on the resolution of your image. Now for the method, you must set this to halftone screen. Now by default, it might be 50% threshold. If it is, just go ahead and set that to halftone screen and then click OK. Now for the halftone screen options, if you're working with the same image that I'm working with right here, for the frequency, enter in 20, angle 45, and make sure that the shape is set to round. And then go ahead and click OK. And there you go, check it out. And you can zoom in real close and take a look at that pattern. All right, before we move on, we must convert this back to RGB so we can get it over to our original image over here. So let's come up here to Image, Mode, and select Grayscale. Go ahead and click OK when the Grayscale options come up. And then back over here to Image, Mode, and select RGB Color. There you go. Now what I want you to do is come over to the Layers palette and right-click on the background layer, and I want you to select Duplicate Layer from here. You can also come up to the menu at the very top right of the Layers palette and select Duplicate Layer from there. It's going off the screen there, but this is it looks a little bit different in CS3. If you're using CS2, it's a little tiny button with a little arrow on it, but it's pretty much the same thing. What I'm going to do is right-click on this background layer and select Duplicate Layer. And down here where it says Document, you need to select the project image that we're working on. So in this case, we're working with the stock image here. So I'll select that and go ahead and click OK. And then I'll click OK once more. And here is the result. You can see that it's directly placed this copy right over the image. Look at that. And to get the background back behind this dots layer here, well, what we can do is over here on the layers palette, I want you to hold down the Alt key on the keyboard, and that's the Option key on the Mac, and come right between the dots and the black and white layer here. Just move the hand tool right in between those two. Hold down the Alt key, and you'll see the icon, or you'll see the hand change to this little icon with an arrow on it. As soon as you see that, go ahead and click the mouse, and you should see the transparent background behind here.